I'll be here waiting with your apology when you're done dragging me and insulting me publicly. Till then. How did we get here, and where do we even start? So last week I posted a video on my side channel called Shiloh Snaps at YouTubers and People on Twitter, Onision's Patient Zero. It basically chronicled the entire mess that was Shiloh lashing out and threatening and saying horrible things to strangers on Twitter. Within that video I did mention how, because that video took me about 5 to 6 days to make, during the making of it, Shiloh messaged me on Twitter myself and she began lashing out at me. Now, I did not disclose the messages because I wanted to kind of leave it open-ended, you know, in case she wanted to kind of rectify things and be peaceful about it. I'm not exposing the DMs because maybe I misinterpreted it. So, just in case I did, I'm still available to talk. Things have changed. She's basically telling me, Edwin, make this video. Hey, tell him, Edwin. Tell him what I said to you. And the reason why this needs to be a video is because this entire thing requires a lot of context that I frankly cannot put in several tweets, even though this happened on Twitter, you know? Now, before we get started, I want to reiterate the message that I said in my previous video, and that I've said in tweets, and that Shiloh herself has been saying throughout her own tweets. Please, take a break from social media. You've been telling people to do this. I beg that you do this. I don't know you, I don't know your life. There's been people from your past that's been telling me this and that with pretty solid receipts, but I'm not trying to get into that. I'm only going to be focusing on the issue that's come up between me and you. I do not wish any harm onto Shiloh. On the contrary, I wish that she would take a step back and realize that her actions are not okay. You know, you don't lie on me, okay? Don't lie about me, and don't manipulate people to try to get them to think a certain way about me. All right, I don't know your intentions with that, but it's not okay. Alright, now let's get started. So in the previous video, I told you guys how Shiloh deactivated her Patient Zero account. That was on Sunday the 23rd, and then the next day, the 24th, on Monday, is when she direct messaged me on her other account, Lil Doll. On Thursday the 27th, I made a tweet just expressing how exhausted I had been feeling from, you know, covering everything that had to do with the Shiloh mess, as well as just everything going on in general with Onision, because this is exhausting, you know. And the YouTuber Repsion, who has been covering Onision for about 8 years now, he replied to my tweet and he said, I feel you. She came at me too. She told me I threw her under the bus because of my Twitter video saying that everything we say, no matter the emotion or anger behind it, we're responsible for how we respond. Later on that night, I received a message from a girl who had been private messaged by Shiloh. She tweeted at Shiloh asking, honey, why are you attacking Edwin and Repsion? You need to understand that you have allies. You need to apologize. Stop pushing us away. You are not alone in this fight. Then Shiloh DM'd this girl on her other account, and this is what she said. I am not attacking Edwin. I offered to talk to him, and when I didn't reply within a day, I got this. And as you can see, this is a cropped message showing me asking, did you really want to talk or did you just message to condescend me? To which Shiloh is saying, are you dead serious? Shiloh continues, I told him how I felt and asked him to leave me alone and blocked him on Tuesday. I never said another word. People are clout chasing. I try not to make my problems public with people unless I feel their account should be taken down. I have made some mistakes. I have apologized. It is over. Thanks for understanding. I mean no disrespect. I'm sure if Shiloh could have her way, these DMs would have never reached me, and she could have manipulated this person to believing a full-on lie. I've not even shown you guys our conversation, but imagine how I feel reading this, especially seeing how she very conveniently cropped the only slightly rude, I guess, thing that I said in the entire conversation, and I'll show you guys. But to say that I'm clout chasing, it is ridiculous. It's just completely nonsensical. I mean, I say this with no disrespect, but what clout? What clout does your name hold? Being Onision's Patient Zero? Because you know the sad part about this is that Onision himself uses the same exact argument about people that make videos about him. He says, oh, they're doing it for clout.
Anyway, so I'm seeing all this content and no one seems to care that this is just one big clout fair.
So, obviously that upset me, but you know what? I could let it slide. Then somebody sent me this tweet from her, which is a subtweet to me. It says, I once DM'd someone to have a serious conversation and they responded by sending 6 links to their own tweets, then snapped at me when I didn't respond quick enough. Flush face emoji and crying laughing emoji. Please keep watching this video and you will see if it was me that snapped or somebody else. She actually posted that tweet a little bit before I posted my video about the whole thing that went on with her. Overall, the video was pretty well received. However, Twitter tends to have this loud vocal minority that just wants to stick on you, right? So I did get a lot of vicious people coming at my way. Someone went on to say, good job, I'm sure Onision will appreciate your help. I am baffled with this kind of thinking because I call out some bad actions from someone that is against Onision. I'm helping Onision. I received a lot of ridiculous tweets, but of course I don't want to discredit the amount of support because I am super grateful and I appreciate you guys so much. In fact, one of them said, super obvious who didn't even watch the video. Call me out if I wasn't respectful, which is what I said in my tweet. Doesn't mean attack and berate me without watching the video or actually making an argument or backing up anything you say. Blind devotion is dangerous. Now the reason why I read you guys this tweet in particular is because the following day, Saturday morning, I received a DM from this follower and she showed me that she received a DM from Shiloh. Now please keep in mind that this girl had not interacted with Shiloh at all. She was only replying to my tweet and Shiloh must have been looking through my replies and picked her to DM her because this is what she said. Blind devotion is dangerous, peace sign. So obviously she's quoting the girl's tweet and it looks like Shiloh showed her a little bit more of the conversation, but it's still cropped. This was a point where I thought, okay, what the hell? Waking up to seeing her go out of her way to message one of my followers that replied to my tweet really rubbed me the wrong way. So I went ahead and tweeted, I'm annoyed because I know some people are annoyed at me for my video, but Shiloh has been DMing my followers, insinuating I've lied and showing tiny bits of her DMs. Why? How can she tweet about stepping away from your phones while lying on me? Not the move, sis. Seriously. Shortly after that, I sent her a tweet saying, hey, please stop manipulating people by sending out of context tiny bits of our conversation to try and paint me as a liar. Nothing I said in the conversation was out of line, and you know it. If you really want to burn this bridge though, then fine. Keep feeling. At this point, I had people telling me left and right to just drop it, move on, and I should take down my video. I had several people telling me to take down my video, and all this and that, and I was just like, I was stressed out. So I made another tweet. I said, at the risk of sounding like a little bitch, may I please ask for some consideration of my feelings? I'm being attacked and told what to do after standing up for myself when I was harassed in DMs. I am not in high school. I will not be silenced for standing up for myself. That. Yeah, your boy snapped, all right? It's just like, dude, I'm not gonna go through this, all right? I had enough in my lifetime of being bullied where I'm not gonna relive this. I'm old enough to stand up for myself and I know where I stand and I know my value, I know my worth, and I'm not gonna let people walk over me and try to manipulate my followers. That's just point blank. So let's go over this conversation that I had with Shiloh. From start to finish, no bits and pieces cut out of context. Let's go from the top.
If you need anything from me in the behind the scenes, let me know. I'm here. Damn, okay. Going back into your page, unfortunately it looks like you're a part of the Horden ways too. I never once told her to kill herself. She asked what she could do to make it better. I said, delete your Twitter, stay off the internet, eliminate yourself from the situation. But of course, only a very small part of the conversation was actually shown. You realize that you came here to help with the case and actually just out of context posted some shit in the direction of one of the victims, that being me.
Again, I want to remind you guys that this is the first time that Shiloh has ever interacted with me. So as far as I know, she didn't even know I existed, you know? And I would be lying if I didn't say I was really overwhelmed and slightly intimidated by this approach. I definitely didn't want to question her due to the hostility, but I do wonder why she didn't just send me a screenshot of the full context of the conversation saying that she said to eliminate herself from the conversation, because all the context that we had so far was this. So after Shiloh put Angela on blast, she actually also sent her a DM and it said, are you effing stupid? Angela then blocked Shiloh and Shiloh went on to her other account and she said to Angela, I swear to God, I'm already on it, on finding where the F you live. At one point, Angela felt threatened and reported some of Shiloh's messages, and one of them reads, I literally want you to effing disappear. You can also see her saying that it would better the world. Shiloh also said, just eliminate yourself, no one wants you here. So to be this upset at me for interpreting the tweet as it seems is astounding, because most people interpret it the same way. So are you mad at everybody? I feel like this is a really hostile way to explain that you didn't actually say that, especially because the woman Angela did say that you said it in that context. So now you're either calling her a liar or I don't know, but it would have been easy to prove it in the screenshot.
I did originally come in here to offer my help, but I think now I understand why doesn't like receiving texts from you. You seem to be a little too quick to jump on some things. Wanna yell about it?
So a few things. First of all, I have trouble believing that she came into my DMs to offer her help. The reason why I say this is because after her first message, the second message, which included a screenshot, had a timestamp of a minute after her first message. So I feel like she wanted a reason to lash out at me. That's what I think. And to say that one of the victims doesn't like receiving texts from me is so wrong on several levels. Not only because it's a lie, but also you just don't do that. I mean, what purpose does it serve to speak on someone's behalf in a negative way like this, other than create a ripple of negativity or tension between the two people? Because even if it was true, it's still completely unnecessary and uncalled for. I mean, think of it this way. You meet someone for the first time and then they say, oh yeah, that person doesn't like you, by the way. You're like, wait, what? So now you have two options: either be insecure or have it in the back of your mind, or confront the person, which is really uncomfortable. And I don't know Shiloh. I have not said a word to her, and this is what she says to me. Not to mention, it's really rude to speak for others, on behalf of others, in this way especially. And I found it offensive for her to say I'm a little quick to jump on things, because that's so far from the truth. You know, when I do videos covering serious topics like this, if there's somebody involved in the story that I have contact with, I want to be considerate and let them know this is what I'm going to say, you know? And for her to say that it's almost like projecting, because apparently she's a little too quick to assume things about me. So now you know some of my frustrations that I obviously didn't tell her, because I wasn't going to take, I feel like a lot of what she said was bait to like get in an argument, you know? But I wasn't going to take it. So what I said was this: I don't subscribe to groupthink, so you don't have to worry about me being part of any horde. You should know I've always been available to speak and in support of you. Then I sent her 4 of my tweets to show her that I've always been in support of her. In my mind, this was my way of de-escalating the situation and letting her know, hey, we're on the same side. Then she said,
I can't figure out why none of you realize that this is real life for us, not a drama game for your Twitter. I don't care what tweets you made in my direction. I just tried to have a convo with you and you responded by sending me links to your own tweets. When you can step down off your weird high horse platform, I'll be here to talk to you, man.
I was in shock when I received these messages, because in my mind, I was just trying to show her that we're on the same team. And she tells me that I need to step off my weird high horse. She came to me and she told me that she was here to talk or help, but with what? Like, what am I supposed to say? I don't have a script ready or a bunch of questions. I don't know what she expected. Anyways, I said, I do understand this is real and completely empathize with how he has affected you all. I've been through a hyper-scrutinized experience online with a narcissist in the past, and it is part of the reason I cover the type of content that I do. You're the only gal I've not yet spoken to, so I was merely trying to show you that I've always been supportive and down to talk. It wasn't meant to come off in any other way, but I suppose I did not leave it open-ended, so let's talk. I kid you not, immediately after that message, I was like, wait, that's not open-ended either. What do I do? Because it suddenly seemed like she wanted me to initiate a conversation even though she came to me first. So I tried to think of something and I said, so for this recent debacle, I'm curious of your recent stance on everything. I'm not sure where to start, but I'm available to chat here, or I don't know if you wanted to have a call. I got no response that night, and that's fine, you know? It's just the next day is when it started to settle in my mind, like, did she just come into my inbox to lash out at me and disrespect me like this? Is this really it? Because at the time I was also editing a video in which she had done this to so many other people. So I was like, did I just become that as well? Because that's not cool. It started feeling bad, you know? Like, it hurt and confused me. So I went to her Twitter, and she had actually tweeted like 30 minutes after my last message to her, and she had made 2 other tweets, including one that boasted about causing all this conversation through Beyonce lyrics. So yeah, I was hurt and confused, and I felt like she had just walked all over me throughout this entire conversation, and I wanted to confront that, you know, because I had even asked several people. I asked my girlfriend, I asked some friends, like I showed them messages like, am I wrong for feeling like she just, you know, took the piss at me? And they all said, no, that's not cool. So I was like, okay. In the most respectful way I could think of, I asked her, did you really want to talk, or did you just message to condescend me? Now, if you remember back earlier in the video, she had DM'd someone saying, I'm not attacking Edwin. I offered to talk to him, and when I didn't reply within a day, I got this. It's interesting how she left out all the context before that, right? And again, within a day, I guess, technically 22 and a half hours, but Shiloh's being manipulative with her phrasing and that tiny screenshot. She's making it seem like she offered to help me, you know? She offered to talk, and I was just annoyed that she didn't respond fast enough, when that's not it at all. I was upset because of the way that she came into my inbox and just lashed out. And if Shiloh thinks that me asking her if she just messaged me to condescend me is me snapping, then homegirl has a really low threshold. I wouldn't even say anything she said to me so far in this conversation was her snapping at me. However, these next 22 messages that I woke up to the next morning, that might be her snapping at me.
Are you dead serious? I'm on suicide watch, you fucking user. Now I know I wants you to stop contacting her, but is too nice to say anything. For fuck's sakes, y'all really think this is a fucking game for us, don't you? So sorry I haven't replied on your schedule. Fuck you, and stop lining your pockets with my story. I have complex PTSD from Greg. Reliving this has almost killed me more than once. I'm 93 pounds because my ED has gone out of control whilst doing all this. I was the first victim. I went through that for 2 fucking years straight. This is a goddamn story for your channel, not trauma in someone's life. Put your fucking head on straight, dude. Real life is happening, and just because I'm old enough and ballsy enough to tell you I'm not fucking okay, doesn't mean the other girls are going to. But they don't respect you either at this point. So just leave us all alone. You really need to stop living in your little dream world before you start having a hard time separating reality from the tech in your hand. This isn't a fucking cancel party. Greg is a serial abuser, and the molest slander, abuse that we went through is not something people come out with on a public platform normally. I don't care for your opinion on my abuse. I'm sickened by receiving this message this morning. You could care less what any condition of these victims are in. I'm dying in front of you people, and it seems it won't fucking be enough until I bleed out on camera or something. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Please, man, just leave me alone. Please. Like, I'm really begging everyone, even real stream. Just please leave me alone. Please. I'm blocked.
I didn't put my commentary in between those 22 messages in the way that I usually would because I wanted you guys to take that in the way that I did. What Shiloh has done is emotionally blackmailed me. She has overloaded me with all this information to make me feel angry, confused, and guilty overall in order to get her way, which in this case, it's for me to leave her alone, which is ridiculous really because I sent what, like 7 messages total and she sent me 32 and she overloaded me. You know, she came to me to just tell me to leave her alone. So what that leads me to believe is that she didn't like to be called out in the first place. She saw me as a threat. She saw me calling her out on Twitter and she felt threatened and she wanted me to stop. And I did the opposite. I made up a video and then she lashed out at me again, which we're going to be going over those tweets again. And that's not how it works with me. Yeah, I'm not going to be intimidated or be held emotionally hostage into submission. I have every right to call her out on her wrongs because if nobody does this, then we're essentially enabling her. We're allowing it to happen. I mean, we've seen Onision literally do this to the young women that Shiloh calls her sisters. When Onision said to Sarah, "I want you to know I have never seen Kai hurt this much. The damage you did, I can't believe you would hurt Kai and the kids like this. What you did hurt everyone in the house." And of course, what did Onision want from Sarah? Well, he wanted her to stop speaking up about his wrong actions. The point of emotional blackmail is for the person using this tactic to refuse responsibility for their actions and instead blame others, or in this case, Shiloh blames me, and in the case that I just showed of Onision, he's blaming Sarah. You know, they don't want to accept that in reality, it's them in the wrong. I mean, what did I do wrong? I was walked all over, and all I said was, did you just want to condescend me, or did you actually want to have a conversation, you know? Objectively speaking, I didn't do anything wrong. I stood my ground, and that's it? No. She approached me, and she immediately talked about my tweet, calling out her wrong actions. So she just doesn't like to be criticized. If she could only take criticism as well as she can take praise, she would be in a much better place. In fact, I had another YouTuber pull the same manipulative tactic this past December, where they emotionally blackmailed me to try and stop me from uploading a video showing how they lied to me about a lot of things. Unfortunately, this is a common tactic that you may have recognized being used against you in your own life. Many people have been dismissing Shiloh's actions as part of her PTSD, and while it is possible, I won't claim expertise in that area, she has proven that she's been using this tactic amongst many people. I have so many DMs that she's said similar things throughout the past 2 weeks. And it seems like a habitual thing by now. It seems like she's gotten comfortable just making people feel guilty into submission. And that's why I think this video is necessary, because even though I had plenty of people telling me to remove the previous video, that it shouldn't have been made, and to just drop it, I respectfully disagree, because that would just essentially be enabling her. You know, we can't just keep her going like, oh, okay, yes, keep going, queen. No, not when she's doing this to people, because it's not just me. She slipped into so many other people's DMs telling them similar things. And this type of behavior is not okay. When I'm advising her to get off of social media, I'm not saying it to be some sort of bully. I'm telling her so she can just detox her mind, you know. It's good for you. It's literally a good thing for anybody, really. And she can come back and maybe even a week. I would prefer more, but like, it would be so helpful to her mental health. And to actually seek help, you know? She's essentially weaponizing her trauma and her mental disorder, and I feel like that only brings further stigma to this kind of thing, you know? And it's disappointing that people want to enable it. And I don't know if it's in the name of the greater bad, Onision, like, well, you know, she's against Onision, so we can give her so many passes. How many passes do we want to give her? Let's be real right now. Alright, now that speech is over, let's address the things she said directly about me. Once again, stop speaking for other people. You are lying about her to either intimidate me or make me feel small, but it's not okay, and if she hasn't checked you after this video, then she's probably too nice to do it, like you said. No, this is not a game for me, and I don't know why you're quoting the word schedule. If this is how you talk to people and they usually reciprocate in a happier manner than me, then I would love to see the exchanges, because that's just total bullshit. F you and stop lining your pockets with my story. I have never covered your story. I haven't touched that. In fact, if you look at the tweets that I sent you, sis, I mentioned how I was annoyed at the way that Onision spoke to a member of your team in a video that you linked, and I said that I wanted to do a video about it, but only with your approval. Send me a DM if you'd be okay with me covering this or anything regarding the aspect of your story. I sent you another tweet in January in which I said, if you ever feel inclined to talk more about any or as many details of your story, I'm down to share my platform in a deep dive video. Maybe fly to you. Either way, you've been doing great. Both tweets went ignored, and that's fine. I've never talked about you on my channels at all. I mean, my previous video, obviously, and I might have mentioned you one time in which Onision said that you looked older, and I was like, no, you didn't when you were like 16. But anyways, that's besides the point. Otherwise, I've never talked about your story at all. I'm not gonna fall for this. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think you met your match, or what? Because you don't intimidate me. I was the first victim. Okay, so are we completely disregarding Sky, his ex-wife? That's really kind of gross, but whatever. Just because I'm old enough and ballsy enough to tell you I'm not okay doesn't mean the other girls are going to, but they don't respect you either at this point. So just leave us all alone. Here we go again, talking on behalf of other people. The same thing that Onision does for Kai. He did this when talking to Billy, he did this when talking to Sarah, and he did this when talking to Haley. Which, interestingly enough, you unfollowed Haley when she showed support for me on Twitter. So much for a sisterhood, huh? Are you sure that they don't respect me? You know, unlike you, I don't have to play this martyr with this god complex, which reminds me of someone else too, you know, like, I will sacrifice anything for these girls. I know that one thing she won't sacrifice is her ego. Homegirl came into this thinking she's Captain Marvel.
Because before you didn't have me.
You really need to stop living in your little dream world before you start having a hard time separating reality from the tech in your hand. There's so much projection in these messages. Girl, please, listen to your own advice. Please. I don't care for your opinion on my abuse, okay? I never offered it. You could care less what condition any of these victims are in. Do you know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to stay quiet when this is how she behaves? And I don't want an apology, by the way. I don't care. Keep your apology, even though you weren't thinking about giving it to me, right? Like, I'm really begging everyone, even Realstream. You mean like the YouTuber that was accused of horrible things? So much for a deplatform. Anyways, so my conclusion remains that she just wants to be left alone by those who call out her wrongful actions. You know, because she has no problem accepting all the praise that she always does. She has no problem being enabled. She has no problem of owning that title of being the first victim. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go into this past Saturday night. Saturday night was something else on Twitter. Shiloh posted over 20 tweets, and not all of them were about me, but a good majority, and it definitely started off about me. I'm not sure if I have every single one, but one of my followers sent me at least a good portion of them. She was deleting them throughout the night, especially the ones that wouldn't make her look good, and by now I'm sure they're probably all deleted, so let's go through them. So she kicked off by quote tweeting my tweet in which I asked her to stop manipulating people, and she must have deleted this one pretty fast, but she said, I can add full context if you really need, or you can just leave me alone and stop lining your pockets with your false narrative about me. Let me know what's convenient for you. Right, so take note everyone, anyone who criticizes Shiloh's harassment onto others is obviously only doing it for clout and money. Does that not sound familiar to anyone else?
What are they trying to get out of everything? Obviously it's money. And clout.
Now let's keep that hypocrisy spotlight on Shiloh, because out of all the women that Onision has harassed, she's the only one to promote a Patreon on her Onision related Twitter. She has retweeted her personal Twitter on her Onision related Twitter, and I'm only pointing this out because her Onision related Twitter has more followers than her personal Twitter. She had a GoFundMe for her tattoo cover-up and raised over $3,000, exceeding her goal by almost $2,000, promised to personally contact everyone who donated, crickets there, promised to do a follow-up video featuring the backstory behind the tattoo cover-up, crickets there as well. And last but not least, promised to give the excess donations from the GoFundMe to Sarah, Billy, and Regina. The crickets are getting louder and louder. Next, she quoted me once again, did you really want to talk or did you just message to condescend me? I mean, yeah, I said that because that's what you did. I begged you to leave me alone after you sent me this message and opened up to you about the fragile mental state I was in. You should have just dropped the full DMs, because right here, from my impression looking in, it sounds like you're saying that we had some sort of bonding moment and then I harassed you and then you told me to leave you alone, which is totally not the case. I blocked you after the last please leave me alone that I had sent. You went on to make a video about me, further profiting off of my abuse, my trauma, and mistakes. I will ask you one more time, please leave me alone. I began working on my video, chronicling your harassment towards others 3 days before you sent me your first message, and by the time you had sent me your last one telling me to leave you alone, I was basically already done. If anything, that just delayed my video for a couple days because I had to include those clips. Like, okay, she also messaged me and I don't want to get into it, but yeah, she wasn't very nice. But the video was not about your abuse or trauma. Mistakes? Sure. I mean, did you even watch the video? And this whole profiting thing, constantly bringing up money. It's interesting how you never bring up money when it comes to people making videos about Onision. Namely, your good friend Mike, an actor, who has had no problem admitting that he does videos on Onision for the money.
Yes, 150. I've mentioned it many times, and I'm actually proud of it. Very proud of it. I made a huge amount of money.
It's an interesting double standard she has, huh? Then she tweeted, if you want me to drop it, for fudge's sake, do the same. I did drop it, and I've been trying to take my time to gather myself. But everyone keeps talking and then dragging me for reacting to those who I thought were friends or allies who have now turned their back on me instead of trying to help me become better in private. Newsflash, I'm just a young woman struggling in the real world. Give me time. Leave me alone. End of story. I'm one person fighting against thousands. It's getting laughable how many of you are trying to gaslight me in the comments. I won't be ran off the internet and I will not stand down. I have acknowledged my wrongs and never justified one. Get a life, go outside. Are you serious? Wow, she's actually saying this with her whole chest. Get a life, go outside while she's out here on her phone throughout the entire night. And I'd like to once again emphasize that I'm not trying to run Shiloh off the internet. I'm simply strongly advising for her to take a long mental health break, because if it's not obvious that she needs one, then I don't know. I don't know. And she's obviously not doing any good for this whole Onision investigation in this whole case, you know, this whole story. She's not adding. She's destroying her credibility and, by association, the other girls' credibility. This is literally giving Onision ammo to use against her and the other women. And she actually said that she's acknowledged her wrongs and never justified one. I mean, what? That's all she's done. Justified everything. Wow. And I have a feeling she'll continue to do so too. I'm trying to write my next album, put my abuser behind bars, recover from anorexia, find a way to afford therapy amongst many other real life journeys. Good day to you, and take some time to think about what you're doing. I feel like this is more generalized and not specifically talking to me, because by this time I'm pretty sure she was getting a lot of backlash, like people weren't siding with her. But in case she's talking to me, I'm good, sis. I'm good. And how are you trying to put your abuser behind bars? I mean, assuming you're talking about Onision, do you think making these tweets is gonna get him in jail or something? Because for better or worse, I dropped my own tweet and said, of course you want to be left alone after berating and insulting me. Of course, now that you picked on someone your own size, not a random follower, you want to block it out. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is using trauma as a shield to harass and lie. Get off Twitter. It's interesting how she uses her trauma and the abuse that she's gone through as a sort of shield and a weapon, you know? She uses it as a way to protect herself and as a way to attack people. Then she posted a screen recording of a conversation that she had with a follower, and it looks like they were talking about the whole eliminate yourself thing, which the tweet's not been deleted, so I don't know what all was said in there. Then she quote tweeted a different person that said, this girl was heartless, but she wasn't wrong in saying that what you said was wrong. You can say that you didn't tell anyone to kill themselves and your fans are so stuck up your booty that they'll just run with it. But we all saw what you said, stop acting innocent. And Shiloh says, I'm not innocent and it's unfortunate I have to keep saying it, but at this point all I can do is be a broken record like everyone else. I never justified my actions once, and I'm hoping this is the last time I have to explain that. I'm tired. Aren't you? You never justified your actions once? Because that's how you literally kicked off the conversation that you had with me in the DMs. And even though I can't see the entire screen recording, but that looks like that's what you were doing to that girl, justifying your actions, saying that I may not have chose the right words, but no one asked me for an explanation and they just ran with it? Sis, everybody was asking for an explanation from you on Twitter, but what did you do instead of responding? You deactivated your account for 3 or 4 days and never addressed it. Someone said, I really want to support you and Edwin both. You explained your side. What's best now is to not address this anymore. We truly understand. If you want to still be on social media and fight the good fight, don't feed into this drama anymore. And less than a minute later, Miss Get Off Your Phone and Go Outside says, this is needed. Big love to you. Now what's funny, but not surprising about Shiloh saying, yes, this is needed. Big love to you, is that, you know, even though the girl's saying, don't feed into the drama, homegirl kept on going and kept feeding into it, huh? Someone asked her, where is your sincere apology though? Saying I'm sorry but I'm not sorry in the same tweet isn't very sincere. I think that's what people are waiting for. And she says, they can unblock me and we can do this like human beings. I am not apologizing to masses of people I didn't hurt. So condescending. I mean, imagine saying, I'm ready to apologize and you can apologize to me too, if you're big enough. What? Right as someone's calling you out about being genuine, you're gonna say that. Someone said to her, please stop. I think you have an issue with understanding the First Amendment, friendo. And Shiloh says, calm down, Twitter warrior. Don't watch me so closely if you don't like it. Then she quote tweeted the same person and said, I'm just gonna start posting all the ridiculous things people say. Since no one seems to care anymore that Onision is still walking free all over YouTube waiting for things to die down for him so he can find a new preteen for him and his partner. Wait, what? Preteen? This type of thing is not okay to say, especially when you're spearheading. Shiloh, this is the type of thing you don't do. You don't exaggerate your claims just to make it more extreme. This is the type of thing that Onision is going to capitalize on. Are you serious? As if you hadn't damaged her credibility enough as it is. Anyways, there is a little bit of good news. Angela unblocked Shiloh and forgave her, for all the harassment that Shiloh put onto Angela. Then, almost 2 hours after the tweet I made about her, she quote tweeted me and said, I messaged you for the first time ever on Monday. You replied by linking me to 6 of your own tweets. 4 actually, but even if it was 6, it doesn't matter because you're not giving context. I responded with frustration. Within 24 hours of me not responding back, you messaged me something very off-putting. I responded in anger and blocked you. I'm sorry that me expressing that you were condescending towards me was off-putting. Does reality hurt? I mean, imagine what I had to endure from you. You don't think that's off-putting? I'm a very patient and empathetic person. And it's wild because so many people were telling me to, Edwin, be more empathetic. And I'm like, you're telling the wrong person. She also keeps making this point of within 24 hours of her not responding, right? As if, oh, wow, shame on me for not waiting that full extra hour and a half, right? Even though she's been pressuring me this entire night to have a conversation, like demanding it. Then she quote tweeted herself and said, it's sad that you can't stop talking about this publicly and won't just message me back like a man. I asked you to leave me alone. You continue to talk about me in various ways, but you don't want to do this in private? I wonder why. That tweet shook me to the max, and I mean, I didn't respond until an hour after that, but I'm giving you my reactions now. And first of all, what the hell? It's sad I can't stop talking about this publicly when she's been doing this whole night, and I won't just message her back like a man, even though she never messaged me. This is so strange. She's acting like she got ghosted, like she's bitter about being ghosted by someone when, girl, you blocked me days ago and I left you alone there, But I can still vent on my Twitter that you were rude to me and you are messaging my fans and giving them a twisted, manipulative story to paint me as a bad guy. Someone said to her, do we really need to throw like a man in there? Not antagonizing, just a poor choice of words. Sorry, I forgot everything I say gets picked apart. Hey Edwin, why don't you want to deal with this privately and message me back like a person? Girl, I don't think that was the point of him asking you that. The whole point is that you're being condescending. That's the whole thing. I don't think Shiloh understands how she sounds so condescending. Someone said to her, his prerogative isn't to handle the issue privately right now while yours is. You both need to respect each other's differences and compromise to discuss this when both of you are cooled off enough to talk through DMs. And she responds by saying, he doesn't want to handle it privately but rather would do it publicly? That makes no sense. I don't know if you guys are seeing this how I am, but this makes no sense to me. I mean, she's publicly tweeting all about this and trying to pressure me into messaging her back. She had not messaged me at all. So that makes no sense. Message you back? Sis, you hadn't initiated anything. You're the one publicly tweeting me like, hey, if you're a man, message me back. You haven't messaged me. And I'll be honest, even if she had messaged me, this is not the Shiloh that I would have wanted to talk to either. I was just trying to enjoy my Saturday night, trying to take my mind off of this stuff and play Overcooked 2 with my friends. Someone said to her, this is real life, Shiloh. What about the situation isn't real? And she says, comments like this make me wanna smash my head into a wall graphic. Someone says, he's upset right now and everyone should feel free to express that how he wants, as long as he's not belittling or threatening anyone. Stop trying to antagonize him into private messaging you. Nothing good is gonna come out of it. Oh my god, this person gets me. Then Shiloh responds, I thought I needed to apologize to everyone. Well shit, good night everyone, I guess. She was gonna apologize to me? Or what? And if she was gonna do it, was she gonna do it because she thought she had to? At Mr. Edwin Costa, I'll be here waiting with your apology when you're done dragging me and insulting me publicly. Till then. What? How did we get here? And how? Where? When? Then she tweeted, y'all are exhausting, period. Oh, the lack of self-awareness. Just drop the stuff with Repsion and Edwin. They need to stop as well. You have bigger and better things, Shiloh. You are a queen. Shiloh goes, noted, peace sign. And it took someone saying it like this. Straight up love you. Thanks for being real. Good night, queen. Are you telling me all someone had to do to get you to drop it was add a queen graphic? Oh, jeez. Do you see what I mean? So when she had tweeted that it's sad that I can't stop talking about it publicly, after she had been talking about it publicly all night long, I was actually like, okay, I had to stop playing my game, and I took a screenshot, and then I was gonna respond, but she just kept tweeting and tweeting. So eventually when it seemed like she was done, I was like, all right, here we go. These tweets made my jaw drop in confusion. You blocked me, and now you're saying I won't message you back like a man after also telling me to leave you alone? Shiloh, you won't see me crawling into submission like a puppy, so please, consider an actual social media break. Then I responded to her tweet saying she'd be waiting with my apology, and I said, don't hold your breath, patient zero. I got work to do, and frankly, your tweets from tonight have rendered me speechless anyways. Logging off Twitter till the next video. Good night. So what I meant by I see what you're doing was her literally mimicking my claims against her. You know, she's the one that insulted me, and now all of a sudden she's saying that I insulted her. And it was just baffling. That's when I logged off of Twitter. And even though Shiloh said she'd be done several times throughout the night, she came back and quote tweeted me saying, can you please stop? This was between us until you made it public. I've dropped it again and you're still going. Either deal with me privately or leave me alone. This is the last time I'm asking you. Leave me alone, please, thank you. And after this tweet, she blocked me on this account. Now, it's really confusing that she keeps saying to deal with it privately. She says that she messaged me, which she did not. I would love to see the receipts, girl, but how can you say that you messaged me when you didn't? That's wild to me. Also, there was never really anything between us. She just disrespected me in DMs, and I said, wow, that sucked that she disrespected me like this, and wow, that sucked that she's DMing people and manipulating the story. There was never an option to deal with it privately. I think I already said this, but you know, it's just, Rabzilla said to Shiloh, people are just wanting a little accountability, which isn't asking for much considering some of the things I've seen. Not aware if you've already apologized for anything. If you have, sorry, I'm ready for things to be settled for everyone. There's more important things to focus. And Shiloh said, agreed 100%. I have apologized to those who have accepted it, and they have done the same privately. As for those continuing to make this a public spectacle about things that I had initially and continue to try to keep private, I am lost for words and over it. She is so good at throwing shade. And once again with the mimicking, maybe it's unintentional, but she ended her tweet with, I am lost for words and over it. And I had ended mine saying how her tweets had rendered me speechless and how I was logging off of Twitter. The only difference is I was actually over it and I got off of Twitter. Just finished resolving personal conflict with another public figure who I have had words with in the last week. Having an adult conversation was how I wanted to end this night. So to you, thank you for being patient with my apology. I swear she is so good at throwing shade. And part of me wonders if she was being intentionally vague, like if she was secretly hoping that people would assume that she was referring to me. Because she wasn't, you know, but she was tweeting about me all night long, so you can't blame people for assuming that. Apparently her and Repsion made up, so that's good for them. So final thoughts. I don't trust Shiloh. I've caught her lying on numerous occasions, and I'm talking about since making this video that I didn't even get to include within this video. More lies. And yeah, it just rubs me the wrong way. She actually opened up a conversation with me in DMs in which she just put a dot. So I'm like, I gave her a dot back. Shiloh, if you made it this far, my sincere and honest advice, and I know I've said this before in this video, but it's to seriously take a break off of social media. And you don't have to go cold turkey on this, you know? You don't have to go cold turkey. You can just start off by taking a break from your Onision related account. Because you yourself have said how much grief it's cost you and how it's cost you to almost take your own life, like to revisit this. And if that's true, then you really shouldn't be subjecting yourself to this every day. It's not helping anybody, and especially the way you're lashing out, you know? I would like to think you're not intentionally being malicious towards the people you've harassed, including myself in the past couple weeks, but it's getting a little foggy here. I really can't tell. And it's just not helping the credibility of not only you, but the other girls by association, you know, especially when you become the self-appointed spokesperson for the victims. So I strongly suggest that you take a step back, you know, because you have helped. Don't get it twisted. You have helped this entire thing. But at this point, it's kind of like you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, do give it a thumbs up. It was obviously a really uncomfortable and heavy video to do, but we'll see what you guys think about this. Thanks for watching.